Right, it's 20 minutes before 7. Good morning to you. African designers have shown themselves to be world-class in their creativity and aesthetic. And Fashion Week shows like the Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week Africa strive to heighten accessibility to new markets through regional and international exposure, creating a global desire for African-designed fashion. The show will start this week, in fact tonight. And to tell us more, we're joined in studio by Nicholas Maweni, who is the director for African Fashion International. And need I introduce him to you, David Tlale, South African designer who is really making inroads all over the place, who's celebrating his 10th year in the business with the theme, the 10th anniversary, a tribute to African heritage. Both of you, so nice to have you in studio. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good
morning to Leanne.
Nicholas, fashion. This is a new page in your book. How did you get involved in this?
Well, you know, there's nothing new about fashion. You know, what's interesting is a famous quote about Coco Chanel, who says, fashion is everywhere. It's in the streets, it's in the boardrooms. So I guess this is just a continuation. Behind fashion, there's always the serious business.
Yeah.
So I guess that's where the likes of us and myself fit in.
Well, I'm glad you say that, because it is serious business. Because fashion, and this is a question I asked David just before we came to the interview. You know, you are traveling overseas, you're showcasing in New York Fashion Week, and you told me it's hard work, and I ask you, is it worth it? And you say to me, yes, even though you're 2,000 in the queue, it is.
Yeah.
Why? Tell me why.
Because, you know, once you've made it in the fashion scene in New York, immediately you stock up at the places like Bergdorf Goodman and Saks on Fifth Avenue and everything else. You start seeing the returns, because the scale of shopping is not as we have here back home, but it's on another level. Yeah. And also people understand the beauty of luxury products, and they understand the power of wearing a designer product. So ultimately, the brand is not only about just clothing. It starts growing. It becomes a lifestyle. You get into perfume, you get into eyewear, you get into shoes, you get into homeware, and ultimately everybody is consuming the product.
Yeah. So, Nicholas, the business of fashion.
Yes.
Do we capitalize enough on the business of fashion in South Africa?
Well, we are starting to capitalize enough on the business of fashion in South Africa. In fact, one of the things that we do from the African Fashion International is exactly what David mentioned. We take a number of our local designers and we actually expose them internationally, which is quite different compared to what happens elsewhere. And the most important thing for us, and also we expose them in the business of fashion. So it's not just about being creative and all of that, and also understand the behind the scenes of fashion, because it's very difficult to grow a household brand. It's great for one to actually be known, but at the end of the day, you need to make sure that your consumers, your customers, actually understand your brand as well.
Yeah, which is very important. And I think here in South Africa, people are beginning to understand the David Tlale brand. Would you say that? I mean, you're there now.
Yeah, I mean, looking back from 10 years ago to where we are now, it took a long time for us to convince people that this product is right and this product is not a fly-by-night. And it's a brand that is meant to grow. And people know exactly, oh, that's a David Tlale dress, or that's a David Tlale blouse. They can already see the signature. So I believe over the past 10 years, we've sort of nailed marking the territory of David Tlale. But now it's time to really take it on to another level, whereby it really becomes a global product.
Yeah, well, that's exciting. I would love to see that. I think that'd be. I think I'd beam with pride if I had to walk through Saks and see David Tlale's range there. Can you imagine?
I mean, that's our dream.
And it's not that far away.
It is not.
It can happen.
I mean, beautiful things that we're really doing, that with the collaborations that we're doing, tonight. I mean, it's a beginning of a new era in the David Tlale brand, whereby we're collaborating with Vlisco, the old Dutch African fabric that has been used. They collaborated with the likes of Burberry and Prada and now David Tlale. So that simply shows that we're getting closer and closer. And the more I visit the US, we start seeing all these amazing things happening.
Excellent. Let's talk about the show. Let's talk about Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week. Now, there are many fashion weeks, but this one seems to almost, I don't know, have this aura about it. Talk to us about this particular fashion week. What can we expect from it?
So for this one, the Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week Africa, first it's actually for Africa.
Good.
So which means a number of designers from all over Africa, they're all here. In fact, they've all arrived. and ready to showcase. In fact, opening for this tonight. They're starting. The interesting thing about it is we've got over 30 designers, Leanne, from about 15 different countries and about 20 runways. And this is all themed around fashion, art and design. Which is, on its own quite creative. And we're hosting this at the city of Tshwane, which is remarkable. So. I mean, most people don't know much about Tshwane. I mean, I don't know if you know, it's probably got over 130 foreign embassies, and that's like second to the Washington, D.C. So that's quite a big thing for the city of Tshwane, for them to be this fashionable.
That's fantastic. I'm sure you're going to have the very fashionable mayor.
The mayor has definitely confirmed that he will be attending the Fashion Week.
I don't imagine he'd miss this one. So it starts tonight. The opening show is tonight.
The opening show starts tonight. In fact, we're starting with Gavin Roger this afternoon, and followed by the amazing Africa by Samsung. And then we continued late until David, who is probably going to tell you more about his show and his collection. And this continues until Saturday evening. And then on Sunday, what we have, it's then the awards event, where we actually bestowing the greatest honours and really recognising excellence from all the greatest designers, models, entrepreneurs in fashion all over the continent.
All right, listen, I have to wrap it there because we've run out of time. But all I am going to say about David's range, which I did say in the introduction, 10 years, so you've adopted the theme, a tribute to African heritage. So we'll have to leave it to the imagination, because I can only imagine how beautiful it's going to all look. David Tlale, thank you. It's always a pleasure. Nicholas Maweni, lovely to have you in studio with us. Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week kicking off today, and I think if you can get down there, it's in Tshwane for the first time, please do, because I think you'll enjoy what the African continent has to show.